Hey, what's up guys? Jackson here at Toasty DIY, and today we're going to be unboxing and testing out the Kobalt 14-inch chop saw. Let's go ahead and get into it. So for years when I've been cutting and welding metal, I've just been using things like angle grinders and reciprocating saws to actually cut the metal, but I feel like it was finally time because I got some projects coming up where I need to make a lot of cuts in a row. They're just really repetitive, and honestly, cutting angle iron with something like a little cutoff wheel just takes forever. It doesn't really feel the safest, and it does not feel efficient at all, so I decided this would be really good for making a lot of cuts, so let's go ahead and start unboxing it. So this saw can usually be had between 150 to 200 bucks. So it's kind of between this one and the Harbor Freight one, but this is something my parents got for me for Christmas, so I said, hey, either one works just fine for me. What we get up top is we get an instruction manual that's fairly thick, should tell us everything we need to know about using it, but chop saws are very basic. If you've never used one before, it's very similar to like a miter saw. I don't even really know if this one is even capable of doing any type of miters or anything. I think it literally is just straight down. That's why they call it a chop saw. It's just for chopping things in half. It's very heavy, I can tell you that much, just based on the box alone. And it doesn't really look like there's anything extra in here that causes extra weight. It's pretty hefty. So I'm gonna see if I can get this. Yeah, there we go. That worked better than I thought it would. So it's definitely not something that's going to be super portable. So if you have a good sized workshop, you know, it's the kind of thing that I'd probably try to find a good spot for and, you know, leave it there. So this thing basically comes completely ready to rock and roll. Definitely inspect your abrasive wheel to make sure everything looks good. There's no cracks on it, because that's the only dangerous thing about any type of you know, spinning object, especially you know, these wheels that are not metal. They're just made out of abrasive compound. You know, they do have the possibility to explode. So it's always advised to use safety goggles, ear protection, because I can tell you these things are gonna be loud. Now it does operate on 15 amps, which is pretty high. So that's basically gonna be your whole entire outlet for most standard homes. You know, most homes are going to be a 15 to 20 amp circuit. Sometimes even older houses, you're less. You have 10 to 12.5 amps. So make sure you pay attention to that when buying this, you know, that you know you have a spot to be able to power it. So simply let the saw do its work. We have a gigantic vise here. It's kind of like basically a machinist vise, and it is a quick vise, which is kind of cool. So you basically get a little lever here, so you can move it really fast. So that's actually pretty nifty. And then once you get your item clamped down, that's when you can use this, do your fine adjustments to really squeeze it down. Now on the other side, it looks like we are capable of doing miters of sorts. So I don't think we can do, I guess it'd be a bevel. I don't think we can do bevels with this saw, so you're not going to be able to take the blade and, you know, cock it like 15 degrees. However, you can, because this right here, you know, I mean, that can go 90 degrees. And then it looks like we have up to 45 degrees of mitering. So that's pretty cool. We actually can do some mitered angle cuts, or miter angle, whatever you want to call it. So that's pretty sweet. We have a gigantic power switch. So power switch in this thing is huge. Which is actually pretty convenient. There's no safety, which honestly for a tool like this, you can only get so safe. It does have a spark catcher in the back, or metal catcher, I guess you'd call it. So right here, that's a shield to keep the metal from just flying out the back. Something the angle grinders don't typically have. I mean, you do have like a little shield, but the sparks and everything got to go somewhere. This is pretty cool because it actually kind of catches them. It'll keep them from flying behind and everything. So it'll make cleanup a little bit easier. In theory, you can take this. We should be able to lock it in place, and then boom, you can pick it up and go. So starting off, we're gonna give this thing a little bit of a challenge. I got a lot of cuts to make on some angle iron. This is pretty basic stuff, just 1/8 inch steel. It's good for welding and stuff like that, but I got a lot of cuts to make for a welding project. So angle iron like this, normally for like my little 4.5 inch cutoff wheel, takes forever. I would probably say just cutting through it without like putting a ton of pressure, because you don't want to do that. You risk you know, having the disc explode. I would say cutting through this would probably take for each cut like 15 to 30 seconds to really let the grinder or blade, you know, cut through itself rather than having to apply a lot of pressure. But I think with the new chop saw having such a large disc, I think we'll be able to put a little bit of pressure, and also with it just being held in place, it should be kind of like a drill press versus a drill. A drill press is so much quicker for drilling through metal than a handheld drill is. So I think the chop saw is going to do the same to this. Let's go ahead and find out. All right, first cut. Yeah, that's a very clean, pretty quick and efficient cut. All right, another one nice and easy. Let's see if that, still cold to the touch. So I see how that blade would last a lot longer than, you know, the little 4.5 inch, disc that I'm normally used to using. But as you guys can see, clean cuts, and I gotta be honest, I feel a lot safer using this. It's right where you want it. The spark catcher works pretty well. It actually does a good job at catching the material, and kind of see some of it like kind of discarded on the side there, but it definitely keeps all of the excess metal shavings and sparks really contained in this area. All right, I know a lot of y'all are probably wondering, you know, as far as like tubing goes, because we kind of just did an angled piece and we know square would be similar. Let's try to cut this piece of tubing. By the looks of this, I want to say this is about 2.5. I think this is a 2.5 inch. We normally used to use it for exhaust when I worked at the shop, but I believe it's 304 stainless. I know for a fact it's stainless. I just don't know if it's 304 or like 409. All right, so as far as grip goes, this thing, no problem at all. I mean, it instantly clamped down. Let's move the camera. All right, let's see how quick she goes. Wow. Yeah, so I mean, that was honestly cake compared to what I'm normally used to. So honestly, I don't have any like super thick aluminum, but I do have this. This is pretty interesting. So this is, I couldn't even tell you what kind of aluminum. I just know I have like 30 sheets of it, but it's super solid. You definitely couldn't bend this by hand or anything. I don't even know what gauge this would be, but I figured this would be interesting because it's flat. So I don't really know how much, you know, how great this is for cutting like larger flat pieces. It might not even be suggested at all, but we're gonna give it a go. Man, this thing can clamp anything. I gotta admit, I think this will be the one challenge for it. I made the comment of how this is just like cutting through the steel like it's nothing. I wasn't really thinking about with aluminum. I think we're gonna need cutting oil if we really want to cut through this, which is kind of funny. I'm sure some of the people watching this that like were like, duh, that's super obvious. But normally if I was cutting aluminum, I'd probably use something with a blade rather than a disc like this, but you can almost see it. I don't know if it was starting to eat at the wheel or the material, but you can definitely see a lot more of some material, whether it's the aluminum or the grinder coming off. All right, but I wasn't gonna leave you all without testing some aluminum, but yeah, this stuff is, it's flimsy. I know, but it's better than nothing. I figured I'd at least show you guys it cutting aluminum in some capacity, because like I said, that definitely was not gonna work out in that flat sheet. I think we could make it work out if we wanted to, maybe changing the angle up a little bit would, but just didn't really feel super comfortable. Let's give this one a go. So that one was a lot easier. It kind of, well, not really, it's not too bad at all. Alright guys, so if it was the summer or spring or fall or any other time of the year, I would test this thing out a lot more, but my feet are literally about to fall off. I think it's 7 or 8 degrees Fahrenheit here, so it's pretty cold. So yeah, long story short, I want to get back inside, but I can definitely tell you guys, this is going to be a much needed accessory for the garage that I wish I had bought a long time ago. And I really feel like overall it's just a much better experience. I think an angle grinder still serves many purposes because honestly, 90% of the time you can't bring the metal to the saw to cut, or it's weird angles or there's just too much to it to cut. Most of the time you're using an angle grinder to cut things like on a vehicle or a trailer, in the house, like wherever it may be. Angle grinders still have an amazing purpose along with really every other type of saw. Any type of metal stock whenever it's in a form that it can be moved pretty easily. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below what you think. If you have a better suggestion or if you like this one, let me know down below. But we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out Toasty Bros and Toasty Clips and Toasty Bros Gaming, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.